not going to talk about if vaccines are safe or unsafe or anything like that. We're concerned about the parents not having the authority to choose what's right for their kids. We know their medical history. We know our risks and benefits. The school doesn't. Again, our message, I don't think our message is that far off from what people want. We want the right to choose what's right for us, the right to choose what's right for our kids. And I think most people in this world want that same thing.
I'm really tired of dehumanizing one another, where you look and you see somebody has an opposite opinion, so you stop thinking that they're human and you start just attacking. And so if we can get anything out of this, I would love this to be something where we can work together. We can represent maybe one side of the table, some different opinions, and we can come alongside, behind, support.
And if you had one goal for the outcome of this meeting, what would it be? If something policy or procedure-wise to take place, what would that be?
I'd like to see us stop moving the direction we are, adding restrictions as we go into the school year, and start reversing, going the other way. I'd like to see kids be able to play their full seasons and have parents come watch them at the school and go back to life as 2019.
Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Kelly Lamb here on special assignment for Rebel News. Earlier today, I was in the small town of Warman, Saskatchewan, which is where the Prairie Spirit School Division offices are located. Now in this region, what started as a small group of concerned moms on Facebook has turned into a much larger movement against COVID measures in the school system. This group is planning to present their concerns as well as data to back them up to the school board at 11 o'clock a.m. This school division covers 47 schools, which includes 3 First Nations, 9 Hutterite colonies, and 11,000 students in total. And the moms, they're not too happy. So let's go see what they have to say.
I think it'd be important for you guys to know. I feel the school board should be contacting parents before making decisions that affect our kids. Due to their requiremts, I'm being forced to keep my child at home instead of learning with friends. Again, there's more comments there. I'm not going to go through all of this, but as board members and director, I think it'd be important for you guys to take a look at.
How did you feel things went, Nadine?
I think it went really good. we had a lot of preparation before this meeting. We actually had a whole committee help us out. We had binders for all of them. The only thing is we ran out of time, so we kind of were speeding through the end part, which I wanted to put a little bit more emphasis on some of the board's responsibilities and the director's responsibilities. But I think I did cover it. This is definitely not going to be the last meeting we're going to speak at. So whatever we didn't get to, we'll get to next time. But I think it was very productive. I was actually shocked how welcoming the board actually was when we arrived there. It was actually quite shocking. I thought we were going to be going to like this really hard environment. They were actually, I have to say that they were actually really friendly and welcoming, and you could tell they were really listening. Yeah.
So what brought you specifically here? You spoke about your own personal story as well as the countless stories of others. Is there anything that really stands out as a message you'd like the public to hear, maybe to encourage them to speak up, or things that they need to watch for in their own kids' lives?
Yeah, so one of the things that we find that there's this kind of message of fear being sent out for children, and my husband spoke about the stats and stuff and the risk of COVID to children and the risk of other things for children, and it was pretty clear that COVID is quite minimal for a risk when you compare to some of the other stuff like the risk of suicide. And in society, it seems like COVID's been the only subject focused on, and we're trying to get that focus on other things as well, like mental health for children. And one of the examples of that is my personal story with my daughter, who struggles with mental health. This whole thing has been so hard on her, and like by the end of last year, she was deemed medium to high risk for suicide. And I know this is something very personal to share, but I think it's important that stories like that do get shared so that people know that there's more than just COVID.
Everybody had a story. Everybody had something to say. Everybody was talking about what's happened to their kids over the last year and what it's been like. And the more I talked to people, the more they would say how afraid they were to say anything. They want to say something to the school. They don't want their kids in masks, but they're afraid that every time they say something, they get just lambasted. They get called names, grandma killer, like all these different things. There's people in this group that showed up in Hepburn that are afraid to hit a like button on Facebook because somebody's going to hunt them down that's scared for their kids and say it's their fault that their kid's going to be in danger at school.
Over the last year and a bit, the uncertainty. I know the kids lost their sports last year. They couldn't go to the gym at noon. Kind of had promises leaving the spring there that this fall we'd be coming back as normal. And although they are doing a little bit more, there's still a lot of restrictions in place. And at this point in year number 3, where we've pretty much proven the fact that kids are not at risk from this, no more at risk than they were prior to COVID, to influenza or anything like that, it's time to let the kids be kids.
We have been in talks with a lot of different levels of governments. I've talked to several MLAs personally who are in the school division. I've sent emails out to other ones who aren't even in our division, because we do represent people from other divisions as well in our group. It just seems to kind of have morphed. They kind of all kind of have come to that group. I've tried to talk to the Minister of Health and Minister of Education. I did speak to the Minister of Health's assistant, but it didn't really go anywhere. One of the big things I wanted to know is who's making these decisions when it comes to the policies. Who are they listening to? If our board is only listening to the SHA, is the Saskatchewan government doing the same thing, only listening to one person?
We're not going to talk about if vaccines are safe or unsafe or anything like that. We're concerned about the parents not having the authority to choose what's right for their kids. We know their medical history. We know our risks and benefits. The school doesn't.
You've mentioned you've had a lot of support, so you started a Facebook group, you've had some different events. How have things been going so far? What has the overwhelming response been from parents in this school division? And how has it been for, you've mentioned some social media attacks, how have people been responding all in all?
I thought there was going to be more attacks, to be honest. When we started it and it started growing so fast, we weren't quite ready. It's not like there's training for someone to how to manage a big crowd like that, or how to manage a Facebook group of 1,400 people who are very strong, opinionated, and very, very passionate, that have not had a voice for so long, and now finally somewhere they can voice. So it's been overwhelming, but the support's been actually pretty good. We haven't. Again, our message, I don't think our message is that far off from what people want. We want the right to choose what's right for us, the right to choose what's right for our kids. And I think most people in this world want that same thing.
I'm really tired of dehumanizing one another, where you look and you see somebody has an opposite opinion, so you stop thinking that they're human and you start just attacking. And so if we can get anything out of this, I would love this to be something where we can work together. We can represent maybe one side of the table, some different opinions, and we can come alongside, behind, support.
And if you had one goal for the outcome of this meeting, what would it be? If something policy or procedure-wise to take place, what would that be?
I'd like to see us stop moving the direction we are, adding restrictions as we go into the school year, and start reversing, going the other way. I'd like to see kids be able to play their full seasons and have parents come watch them at the school and go back to life as 2019.
We thought we were alone. And I was sitting at home, my husband and I thought we were the only ones who were feeling the way we were, concerned about the things we were concerned about. And it was this overwhelming response within 24 hours. I think it was 850 people. Like a private group, word of mouth. Like, that's a lot of people to think that we're the minority. It says there in the director's basically policy manual what his job's supposed to be. He should be answering those questions. And what we're about is holding them accountable. So they don't have a boss. Let's make sure that we let them know that if you're not going to follow that, we're going to hold you accountable to that.
So there you have it. These parents are not going to stay silent, not when it comes to the health and safety of their children. And they maintain that the current COVID measures in place in this school district are causing far more harm than good to the kids who attend. This includes, but is not limited to, stark increases in anxiety, depression, and suicide among these kids. And while there is no date set for the response of the board, we know there's another board meeting in a month. So we'll be sure to keep you posted and give you progress as this goes forward. People are concerned about their kids. They want you to know they're not anti-maskers, they're not anti-vaxxers. They simply are concerned parents who want to ensure that they have a say in how their kids are treated within the school system moving forward. For Special Assignment for Rebel News, I'm Kelly Lamb, north of Warman, Saskatchewan. To support our legal battle against vaccine passports, please go to fightvaccinepassports.com.